Hi everyone, today I'm going to talk about the film The North and the South, which was produced in South Korea in 1964. A soldier from North Korea, he surrendered to South Korean soldiers, and then he was taken to other army men, and he said that he surrendered because he was looking for a woman who was the love of his life. Then the South Korean authorities asked him if he could give information about North Korea. He said he would, but only if he could meet the woman he loved. The problem is that one of the army men, this guy from North Korea, he had the picture of the woman in his pocket. And when one of the army men from South Korea looked at that, he almost fainted. He felt really sick because the woman in this picture was his wife. Then the man was really obsessed to find that woman. He said he wouldn't talk to any authority while they couldn't find that woman. On the other hand, the South Korean army man, he told to other people that the woman the guy was looking for was his wife. As time passed in the film, we got to know why he wanted so much to see that woman. That woman was a former girlfriend. She came from a wealthy family. He was poor. They fell in love. She was pregnant with their son, but he never had an opportunity to meet his son, because then Korea was released from Japanese domination. He was locked in North Korea and he lost track of his girlfriend and son, and he could never meet the baby. And then he didn't want at all to be in the Japanese army. Then he was forced to be part from the army of North Korea. In the meantime, he was looking for his old sweetheart, but couldn't find her. Then he decided to surrender to South Korea so he could find her there. And he was very sure, was very certain that his old girlfriend would never remarry. She would never marry anyone else, and she would be waiting for him. Unfortunately, it's not what happened. She ended up marrying this army guy. So he insisted a lot to see this woman. Then the army, they found a way. They brought the woman from another city so they could meet, and he could finally talk about military secrets from North Korea. And when he finally met the woman, she started crying and asking for his forgiveness, saying she was no longer the same girl he knew. Then he realized that she got married with another guy. He wanted to know who the guy was. Then he found out that it was the army man he met already in his first day in South Korea. And then instead of reacting badly, the guy understood that she married another man, many years have passed, and that she had the right of starting all over again. And he was even happy that she found a good man who would take care of her and his son. And then he was talking in private with the woman. Then her current husband, the South Korean army man, he arrived in the room, and the three of them started talking. The woman was extremely emotional, crying a lot. Both men talked. The current husband, the South Korean army man, he told his side of the story, that he was seriously hurt once. She was the nurse of the hospital. Then she took care of him And then he fell in love with her. He asked her to marry him. She refused because she was waiting for a man her old boyfriend to show up. Then he insisted again and again and again. Then he said that if her former boyfriend returned, that she could leave him and stay with the other guy again. But in the meantime, while her former boyfriend didn't show up, he would like the honor of taking care of her and her son. Then they got married. And he told that to the former boyfriend of his wife. Everyone was extremely emotional in the middle of this conversation. And then the guys, they started to say, no, she must stay with you. No, she must stay with you. And then the woman who was pregnant, she fell sick and she had to go to the hospital. But then her former boyfriend blessed their marriage and he apologized for disturbing their lives, but he didn't know. Then he asked to meet his son for a moment. Then he talked quickly to his son, who was already 6 years old. And then he hugged the boy. He was very emotional. Actually, it's the old story of the man who goes to war, returns years later, and then he found out that his wife was married with another guy. But this is the version of the story according to the Korean culture of decades ago. So it's really interesting, the melodrama and how formal and how the story developed according to the Korean way of producing films. It's really, really nice. And then we learn a little bit later that her current husband, the South Korean army man, he got killed. And then the former boyfriend of the woman, he got extremely emotional, disturbed. He wanted to take revenge on the guy who killed the husband of the woman he loved. And then he recklessly tried to cross the border between South Korea and North Korea. And of course, he was shot. Actually, he wasn't shot. He fell out of a cliff and hurt himself badly. And then this is how the film ends, with lots of emotional tension, but at the same time people had a good, noble character. The woman was a decent woman. She waited for her boyfriend for years, but she was a young woman. She had a small son. She needed the protection of another man. The man really loved her. And then her former boyfriend appeared out of the blue after many years. And then instead of people fighting each other, they tried to do the right thing, to be gentle with each other. So it's really beautiful to see that even though the three of them were really heartbroken, they tried to be decent and do the right thing until the end. So even though the plot is old, predictable, and was told many times in many films throughout the world, the development of this film is one of a kind. It's different from what we see in Hollywood films, for example. So if you are able to see this film, I'm sure you're not going to regret that. That's all for now, folks. I hope you enjoyed this video. See you!